So, far away Brad and Lucas, are you ready to record what might be our spiciest how not to do business yet?
Yeah, this is a very involved one this time around.
It is indeed, yes. Let's talk about established titles. So, Brad or Lucas, how do you want to open this one? Because we're all here. We should clarify that Nisha's not here because she's just busy. And when we asked her, she said, "I've got nothing to add. You guys have got this."
You know what? I just want to open this with people who don't want to watch the entire video, probably expecting us to drag this company out, and we're here to not do that because guess what? We've got some fucking receipts.
We do, yes, and we know that the people who've already made up their mind about this, they've already clicked, they've left their comment. They've gone on to another video to do the same thing. So we're not talking to those people. We're talking instead to the people who maybe are upset about this and have been leaving us comments, been sending us messages. You know, the nice ones, not the ones threatening us or calling us arseholes, but those people who've raised the quite legitimate concern that in the past we've been very concerned ourselves with transparency in regards to sponsorships. So we want to talk to those people, and perhaps the people who are interested in this whole kerfuffle of what the hell is going on. So I guess, should we clarify what's going on with the sponsor established titles that people have seen popping up all over the internet recently?
Yeah, so as everyone is obviously aware, Established Titles is a company that allows you to purchase the ability to call yourself a lord whilst donating money to charity. And this sponsor has been cropping up all the time recently in a lot of different videos. Personally, I've seen it in half of the YouTubers I watch.
Yeah, they've had a marketing campaign towards Christmas. It makes perfect sense. I've seen that raised as a weird thing when it's just what marketing companies do.
Yeah, it's oh man, this business is doing a lot of advertising around Christmas. Isn't that suspicious? I think the joke I made to you yesterday, Lucas, is I've seen a lot of adverts for this game called Callisto Protocol. It's a bit suspicious it's popping up now, but I've not seen it 6 months ago.
What's this Pokemon people are talking about?
Yeah, there's been a video. And this is the thing, it's one video by one guy. We're not going to link to it. We're not going to reference it with clips or anything like that. If you're watching this video, you've seen that video. If you're yelling in the comments, you've seen that video. But that video, I think, might be one of the best examples of how dangerous the internet can be, because that one guy has, as we're about to discuss, potentially cost a charity tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue at Christmas.
That's the thing, it's attacked not only the reputation of established titles, also the charities that they're working with, also all of the people like ourselves that are working with them over the sponsorships and stuff.
Yeah, it's difficult to know where to go with this, and so I think the first thing we should do is we should apologise, because something that's become clear is that people thought that established titles were selling actual lordships, and I should probably clarify, I was the one who initially signed a deal with them many, many months ago, and then they re-upped that deal while I was taking my hiatus with you, Lucas, yes?
Yeah, so we had one sponsor that they were happy with, and we're look, the first one, single video went well for us. We'd like to partner up with you guys over, multiple videos over the Christmas period, over the holiday period, and yeah, they dealt with me through there, and, obviously, you'd already agreed to work with them in the past and done some due diligence on the company and the charities, so we were happy to work with them again.
And we get a lot of sponsor offers, maybe not too many after this, but we do get a lot of sponsor offers, and I have been reached out to by similar companies to what established titles do in the past. And the reason why I even gave them the time of day is the twist of, because I figured everyone was aware, these land plot things, they're when you buy space on the moon or adopt a star. It's a novelty gift that you get for someone to show that you care. Nisha has one of these, doesn't she? She mentioned that she's got a star named after her, and she's under no illusion that she owns that star. It was just a nice gift. It's a nice it's a nice platform, and it's a conversation starter. So I was operating under the assumption that everyone knew about this, and the twist of it being a charity is what initially piqued my interest. And the first thing I did when they mentioned that is ask them, can you provide proof that you are either planting these trees yourselves or working with a registered non-profit that does do this? And they did. They responded. It's Trees for the Future and another company, yes?
One Tree Planted is the other one. And literally in the talking points for our sponsorship, they list it as a fun and novel way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. Yeah, that's how they label themselves.
And that's the thing of we've got the brief in front of us, and this is where we can hold our hands up to it of, maybe we were, being a bit misleading with what we were saying, because I was operating the assumption everyone knew it was similar to those other ones. Like it's a novelty where you get the added satisfaction of you've donated some money to a charity.
You've adopted an animal.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean. Like
that's a good example. Yeah, when people adopt a panda, you don't expect they're going to send you a panda in the post, and you're under no assumption that you're the only person who's adopted that panda. It's like you've donated money to a worthy cause, and they send you something back to make you feel good about yourself.
And for anyone that wasn't aware that it's like a novelty way to donate to charities, like they do offer full refunds on their website, and they will still match that charitable donation. Like it's not as if they're trying to trick people into it, and then afterwards they're like duped out of their money.
No, that's the thing. That's why we need to hold our hands up here. I think like every YouTuber who's like advertised this thing has been getting like the same criticism of like they read the brief and they made it their own. And we should clarify as well, when we did our initial brief, they did send us a lot of like corrections and stuff.
Yeah, they specifically told us like you can't mention that you're allowed to use it on like official documentation, for example, and stuff. It's like you're allowed to use it on like a dating profile or a credit card, but you're not allowed to legally change it on your driver's license or passport or anything like that. Like they specifically tell us those things.
The dating one's the funniest one for me, because there are people out there who are really mad about that. Of like, they said you could put it on your dating profile. That's really misleading. It's like, have you read a dating profile? How many guys are 6 foot fucking tall on Tinder? People can believe that excuse or they can't, but like, I legitimately thought most people would realise, this is a novelty gift where it's the added thing of, it's like donating money in someone's name to a charity, but then they get a nice big plaque, and it's like, it's a fun conversation starter you can just have on your wall. I didn't realise people were actually thinking like, it actually conferred any sort of like title, like lordship.
Go to Scotland and claim some kind of authority, like we all
we
stay in the same stance of like, if you were misinformed or misconstrued by what we said, we apologize, but we kind of were under the assumption that people realized that it was a novelty idea.
It's a charitable donation with the twist that you get something out, and whether or not and how much value you ascribe to that thing is a matter of personal preference. If people out there think it's worthless, like you can go get your money back.
I was also just under the assumption that it was a novelty way to donate to a charity, which is why, obviously, the this idea, when people started telling us that, oh no, it's a scam, this thing is a scam, we got immediately worried, because we were like, wait, are they not giving the money to the charity?
And when we watched the video, the guy makes that claim. And that's a claim we've seen repeated in our DMs, in our comments, in our emails, and all of our other socials, of people saying that they are not donating or working with not donating to or working with a charity, which we've been given confirmation is demonstrably false.
Yeah,
and literally on one of the two, like Trees for the Future's website lists Established Titles as a partner that they've planted 2,065,630 trees with so far, or over. Yeah. And that's on their official website. Like, the guy didn't even research it.
And here's the thing for me as well, where Trees for the Future, if anyone's not familiar with them, has been doing conservation work and planting trees around the world since the 1980s. So they've been around for 3 decades. If anyone out there is wondering, like, well, why are they working with a third party to do this? It's like they're working with a charity who has literal decades of experience doing this exact thing. That's, in my opinion, the actual smartest thing to do, is outsource that part of it to someone who knows what the fuck they're doing and get the most bang for their buck. And it's worth pointing out, people thinking, well, what about this charity? If you go to like Trees for the Future's like page on, I think it's the Better Business Bureau or something, there's some website that tracks charity. It's like one of the most highly rated charities on earth for accountability. It's literally one of the most transparent, accountable companies or charities on planet Earth.
It's so funny to see people say, there's no way we know how many trees have been planted, when they've got a number literally pasted on their website.
A running tally of like this many plus more.
And even if somehow that website that they've put up is lying, they have Established Titles themselves, when we've inquired about some evidence to, refute these claims, because we like to do our research before we put out videos like this.
Yeah, that's the thing. I already did it, and I was... They already sent me proof that they were working with a charity, but you've got more proof. We
double checked, and like we can't publicly share these documents because like it has like information about like bank details and stuff like that. But they have been willing to share privately with us evidence of like bank transfers to the charities, so that we know that they're definitely donating that money.
Yeah, and the fact that they're willing to share with us sensitive internal documentation, and then are trusting us not to just post it on the internet. And we can't clarify the amount, but it's a substantial cash donation to one of these charities, and it's the first of several.
And the fact that they've been willing to immediately counter with every bit of evidence we asked for without question, within a day they had it all back to us.
Yeah. And the fact they're allowing us to talk about it, and we should clarify, we're not being paid by Established Titles to say this. It's just we feel the need to just defend ourselves because people are accusing us of stealing money from a charity. Because I was well aware of the fact, these things, they don't really have any value besides what you perceive it. It's that thing of something's only worth what you're willing to pay for it. But the addition of their working with a charity, I thought was a fun twist. And the Karl Smallwood thing. And I've had a lot of people saying, well, they're not planting your Smallwood. Well, they are. Because that's the other thing in the documentation they sent. They are conserving a piece of Scottish land. And I think if you watch that guy's video, he goes onto the thing and he's on Google Maps of look, here's the land. They're not planting trees on it. It already has trees. It's yeah, because they're conserving the part with trees and they're planting more trees elsewhere. You're actually getting more than you expect. They're actually doing more than I thought.
Global reforestation efforts while conserving land in Scotland.
But the thing is,
two separate things that they are both doing, both of.
The best part as well, one of those global conservation effort includes a project in Scotland. They're on their Instagram page. I think you got the thing of here's just them just working with a chap planting trees in Scotland. Yeah. Did the guy not just Google this?
This is
it's all public information, and we've asked for more evidence because apparently that public information wasn't enough to stop this video being made.
But they even said in the email, if the us being on the website isn't enough, here are all these receipts. Here's all this information.
Literal
here's links to other things. Here's videos and stuff to evidence that we're doing this. We've been getting messages for days, comments, messages on all our social media platforms, and they're all different variations of the same thing, which is you guys need to do your research. And it's the video we're being linked in every single one of these is a guy who didn't do his research, and that's why we're getting so annoyed about this.
The thing that we're most frustrated about is that we're being accused of standing for a company that is ripping off a charity. That is the only reason I accepted a sponsorship in the first place, and that's the only part of that video's claims that I was genuinely surprised and upset by, because I was horrified at the idea that I may have inadvertently convinced people under the guise that they were donating money to a charity or helping with reforestation efforts, that wasn't the case. And we've been provided evidence that it absolutely 100% is. And if anyone is well, why do they have to do that? Why couldn't, just people donate money on their own? That's not how fucking charity works, and we all know it. Anyone saying that is full of shit. People only donate to charity if they feel like it or they get something out of it. And the sad fact of the matter is that charities need money year round. And not everyone always feels in the mood. So one of the ways you can put your thumb on that scale is by giving, something in return. And you could say, oh, well, they're, getting something off the top. There's no ethical consumption under capitalism.
Yeah, it's you're
when
watching
I buy,
this on YouTube and probably, have just bought something off Amazon for Christmas on Black Friday, and there's so many times that you could sit there and say well, X company was involved with X company. It's
or they're making a profit on it. It's when I go to Tesco and it's the Ukrainian Appeal Fund, and it's do you want to pay an extra? Do you want to round your figure up? And I press yes. And it's Tesco's probably writing that off on their taxes, but some of the money's probably going somewhere. At the very least, my hope is that at some point, some money will get to the charity, because we have to.
Well, it is getting to the charity, and trees are getting planted, whether you like it or not.
And that's the thing. If a story came out that Tesco weren't donating that money, I'd be incensed. But if it turns out, well, actually, no, Tesco is writing it off on their tax, it's well, yeah, that's why they're doing it. There's no way a company's going to work with a charity without getting something in return. That's how business works.
There is one other aspect of the video that did get us quite angry,
which is.
And that is the fact that they used the founder's nationality to call the entire company into question. Yes.
So at one point in the video, the guy just starts making a generalization about the company being a Chinese scam because it's based in Hong Kong. And that's one, a bit racist, and two, wrong, because Hong Kong isn't China.
And also, the founder isn't actually from Hong Kong. They have family in Hong Kong.
They're American, which you can find out.
And they have publicly done interviews with people
with an American accent.
The fact that they are the face of the company and they are upset about the fact that like their family's nationality is being dragged into this conversation.
Yeah, it's in the video the guy in that way that I really hate when people do it, where they say it without saying it and they give that wink wink nudge nudge to the camera of like, well, look, it's based in Hong Kong and that whole area, as if to mean China. There's a lot of shady companies there, and he goes, yeah, there are a lot of shady companies in China, but do you know what?
There's also a lot of shady companies in the UK and in
also
America and the world. Like,
but also Hong Kong has different rules. Like, they're literally having protests about this. Did the guy not watch the news? Have you looked at the Hong Kong protests? What do you think they're about?
But yeah, that entire argument is extremely disingenuous at the best and like nasty
racist
at
at worst.
Yeah. Regardless of like what intent they had behind that, it's like it was very upsetting to watch that video and see like the entire process being called into question because of like, a person's family.
It's really uncomfortable to watch. And I think it weakens their entire argument, which is already incredibly weak as it is. And it's just another thing, it's not the most important thing, but it's something we specifically want to single out because it's really just like the fact that we've been told you need to watch this video and you watch it and the guy is just making wide sweeping assumptions about someone based on their race. It's like, really? Really?
It's not great. But yeah, I mean, moving on from that, I think it's one of those things of like this, as we say, like disingenuous, poorly researched video as far as we can tell. Like, this has done damage to so many brands, including like the company itself.
Demonstrable damage, yeah.
Like, for what we can tell, zero reason.
We've been talking about all this in private, and we've been saying, like, if anyone can bring any evidence forward, then of course we then reevaluate the relationship. But as it stands, everybody who was asked, just send that video.
As we said,
but Brad,
they didn't
he's
even
on
click.
He's loud.
It's loud and
They
he's on the
didn't even
internet.
click on the charity's website to check if they list them as a partner. Like, that's how well researched the video is. And
that's the problem as well of like that aspect of we're still getting blowback from that of like they don't donate to charity, and that is such a damaging accusation to make. It's such like when you're saying stuff like that, like I'm legitimately expecting that guy to get fucking sued for the stuff that he said in that video.
We can't say that he will be because we can legally get dragged into that shit.
But I would be surprised if he's not, because you can draw a direct line between a business losing potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars and by extension that charity is going to miss out on the tens if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of donation they would have made.
The thing that annoys me the most are when people try and argue something with no evidence and insist that they're right. And this is just a prime example of that happening, of somebody making a claim and everybody seeing it and believing the claim outright and then using that to harass other people. Like the amount of comments and messages we've got about it, and we're obviously not going to be the only people. We're a fairly small channel in the big pool. Like the number of people who must have got more comments than us about it, and people like are cutting off ties to the company because they I assume they didn't do the research into it, or they may have stood their ground. But
it's like I say, it's the first thing I asked is, have you got proof you're working with a charity? And this makes me really suspicious. And I've got sneaking suspicion that a lot of YouTubers who signed this deal didn't actually ask that. Because if they would have asked, they would have known that that claim is bogus.
But we obviously can't speak for any other channel. We don't know if they just started getting a bit of a blowback and we're like, it's not worth it.
Yeah, and that's the thing for us. We don't even know if we can guarantee that below this very video there are going to be people who've not watched it just saying it's a scam with a link to that video because they've made up their mind.
We're still trying to figure out what's happening during this shitstorm, but we're doing our best to continue a working relationship with them while, as long as we've still got evidence that they are a legitimate company that's working with charities.
And that's the problem as well. Just from because let's speak just personally and quite selfishly for a moment here. Part of the reason why we accepted the Established Titles sponsor, this second one, is because they offered us a not insignificant amount of money to do it. Mm-hmm. And that amount of money was going to be split evenly between everyone on the channel. That was going to end because, in all honesty, we don't know if the channel's going to make it through 2023. And I wanted a last hurrah where I could give you guys one massive Christmas bonus. One big Christmas bonus to say thank you, because we're not sure if we'll be able to do this again next year. And we get the added bonus of that warm, fuzzy feeling inside of, you've helped a charity get some money near Christmas. Mm-hmm. And now we can't do that. And we
or
may have
potentially can't do that. Like, there's been a disruption within that all happening now.
Yeah, and we may have just caused irreparable damage to our channel by having those ads on our in our videos. So I'm hoping that people watching this have at least learned something about the whole situation, and we trust from the feedback that we've gotten that people trust our opinion on this sort of thing, and they can trust that we have seen these receipts. And for anyone who maybe is wondering why we can't share them, it's for legal reasons we're not able to. But I would just ask the question to anyone who's like, well, that sounds a bit suspicious. Why would we stick our neck out right now? It would be so much easier for us to just cut ties with this company and make a generic statement.
We literally have been given the option via Established Titles to cut and run from our contract.
Yeah.
And if they were like a scammy, shitty company, then why would they not just say you've locked a contract in with us? Either pay us a bunch of money or you are locked into these videos.
And I'm presuming they've offered the same thing to every other content creator. And the fact that none of them are talking about that just shows that they just don't want to deal with the shitstorm. And that's what I hope people take from this, of the fact that we didn't just do what everyone else has done, of well, fuck that. The fact that we feel compelled to point out because it's our reputation that's been tarnished as a result.
I think the one thing to remember when we say we can't share these documents is there's enough public evidence out there to already show that all of this is legitimate. But we wanted to double down and ask for evidence from the company themselves if they can provide anything extra to back it up.
Yeah, we're the ones who are in business with them. We wanted the actual evidence to be able to see. But like Lucas said, you can see on the websites links to the charities. You can look up the charities. You can see the number of trees that have been planted. There's now an interview with the founder of the company that we can put in the description. You can go and watch and listen to them talking about it.
The fact as well that I think this is the one that I need to stress again. The fact that when this all kicked off, their first response wasn't, as you'd expect, a shady company to do. Double down and fuck you signed the contract. They gave us an out. Without
and they contacted
any restrictions.
Us. They didn't even wait for us to get in touch.
Yeah, they contacted us saying they refuted the claims, as you probably would do if you're a business that's just seen 50% of your market share wiped out. And rather than desperately try to claw at us and use the language of the contracts that they signed, made us that we all signed to keep us in the loop, they said we'll give you a complete free out, and we'll even honour offering any refunds to any of your viewers that feel that they have been misled by this. And that's not something they had to do.
At every single turn so far, working with them, they've been completely open and transparent with us and provided anything we've asked for.
That doesn't matter, because we know that no one's going to listen to this, but we're hoping that. And that's the thing as well. I guess the final point we should mention is we're not sure if we're going to have any more plugs by them in videos going up after this one, because while we as a group and a channel, and I guess Big Wangers, as in my authority as the owner of the channel and of Big Wangers Incorporated, I am happy to keep working with them. Maybe if we clarified a bit more, it is a novelty, but you are getting, it's donating to charity, but you get something fun out of it. I don't know if we can, because the damage that video has done to the brand and the residual damage that's going to be done by being associated with them is catastrophic.
We're not salty about working with them as a company, and they've provided everything they can so far, but the public backlash that we've gotten at the moment has been quite nasty.
Yeah, and we know that 90% of the people who've they've already made up their mind. They're in the comments right now, they're in our DMs, and I've had, I'm not sure about you guys, but a couple of conversations with people who've sent me these DMs. It's you should watch this video, try to provide, can you, well, I did see evidence they're working with a charity, can you, is there anything I'm missing here? They've just done the classic thing of either not responding or retreating to another point of, that part might have been false, but what about this part? And it's you've made up your mind.
Multiple days ago on our community post for any evidence, bar that one video that doesn't provide evidence, and nothing has come up.
And if it does, let us know. We can give people a little bonus fact here, a little fact fiend-esque fact. Have you heard the story that William Shakespeare wasn't really a person? It was it's a pseudonym. Do you know why that's so prevalent today? It's literally one person, one day, just went, I think it's not really that realistic that one guy could have written this many good plays. I think William Shakespeare doesn't exist.
This is so common.
And that was it. It's like same thing, moon landing.
Yeah, the moon landing. One guy wrote a book.
One guy was like, you know what? I smelt a rat that day.
And then
one guy.
And then the anti-vax movement. One guy wrote a paper. One guy wrote a paper that was provably wrong.
Just like, you know what? I smelt a fucking rat. It's like, you didn't know. It's like, what I did. And this is what it reminds me of that. It's just one guy is like, something don't add up here. It's like, well, there's all... Nah, something don't add up.
If you stuck around this far, thank you for actually taking the time to listen. And we hope that you've taken something away from this, even if you haven't believed our piles of evidence. We hope that at least you take away that don't just automatically believe something because a lot of people are saying it.
Yeah, if you're not going to believe us, you definitely shouldn't believe that guy. But no, thank you for everyone who has listened. Like, if you have listened to the end, like, we do appreciate it. It's like, we are being a bit flippant towards the end here, because this is like, you know, just something we've been frustrated by for a couple of days, but know that we are absolutely serious when it comes to, you know, make like the claims that when they were made of them not working with the charity, we took that deadly serious, and the literal first thing we did is reached out to the company to confirm that, and they did.
Yeah, it's almost like we waited while getting buried under like a crap ton of comments. We wanted to make sure that we had evidence and research behind what we were saying.
And the thing is, though, I'd already done that initially. And the thing is, the guy in that video states with such confidence, there's no proof they're working with these charities, they're not planting these trees, that I question I was being gaslit by proxy. But it's that thing about the amount of confidence with which that statement was said made me legitimately question. And I went back through the emails I had with the company. I went, but they sent the non-profit numbers. Like, well, maybe they could have lied about those. And then I googled those numbers and checked and went, oh no, they've got a link with Established Titles right here. Like, what am I missing? And that's why I was like so baffled. Like, what am I missing? There has to be something that I'm missing. And every time someone come out to me with that fucking video, it's like, where are his links? Like, he doesn't provide any links on the charity stuff. What are you going by? Because, oh no, I don't know, there isn't any. And that's why, you know, I was so frustrated. Of like, people are telling me that I'm wrong about something I can see with my eyes. I can see it with my eyes. But it's just that thing, like, I'm looking at the charity, like, statement they sent me, and people are saying there's no proof that they're working with the charity. So what am I looking at then? Buy armor. You know what, as well? Subscribe to our Patreon, because it looks like we don't have any sponsors for a while now, so we need the fucking money.
Slide that in there.
And you know what? Donate some fucking money to charity as well.
Yeah, that's a good point to end on.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I will listen to any criticism of this video as long as it is prefaced by a evidence of a donation to a charity. Of at least the value of what Established Titles were charging.
Yeah, anyone who wants to comment on this video and say, oh dear, but it's still a scam, you can do that if you donate money to a charity, because then, like,
put your
bring your receipts.
Yeah.
Put your fucking money where your mouth is.
That's the word I was looking for. Put your money where your mouth is.